daughter found cameras in her school locker room, but the principal is refusing to take them down. 2 days before her swim team tryouts, my 14-year-old daughter came home shaking. "There's cameras in our locker room, Mom," she said, hyperventilating. "I'm not going on the team if someone's watching me change." She opened her camera roll and threw her phone at me before sprinting upstairs, where she ran the hot shower for an hour, scrubbing her skin until it bled to get the feeling of being watched off. By the time I'd processed what I just heard, I was already on my phone making calls to other parents. 7 of us, including a lawyer mom who specialized in child engagement cases, stormed into the principal's office after hours that same evening. "Why is there cameras where our children change?" I yelled. But Mrs. Lynch somehow stayed calm, almost like she knew and had an explanation ready. Everyone was threatening lawsuits and police until she finally spoke up. According to her, the cameras were here for our children's safety. "Our safety!" someone yelled. "Yes, you see," Mrs. Lynch continued. "Last year, we had an act of property destruction happen in the changing rooms. We all remembered that. Someone deliberately left the taps running after last period and flooded the school. Every single kid was interrogated one-on-one by Mrs. Lynch, as well as her cop brother personally. So now cameras ensure that if this is repeated, the perpetrator will get caught, and your innocent children will not risk being suspected." Sandra, the lawyer mom, filed the emergency injunction the moment she got to her car. But when she called me that night, her voice was tight with frustration. "Judge won't hear it until Monday, 4 days after tryouts. And even then, she said these cases usually favor the institution when there's been documented property damage." By morning, 17 girls had dropped out of tryouts, and my daughter hadn't touched food since yesterday. When I drove her to school, she broke completely, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. "Everyone knows there's cameras, Mom. The boys keep making jokes about trying out for the team just to see the footage." That afternoon, the secretary called me frantically. Turns out my daughter had marched into Lynch's office during lunch with 20 other girls behind her. When I arrived, I could hear my daughter's voice through the door, stronger than I'd heard it in days. "We're not leaving until you remove the cameras." Lynch's manufactured calm finally cracked as she snapped, "I cannot have students making demands in my office." And that's when my daughter said something that made me so proud. "Then none of us try out tomorrow, and you can explain to the school board why the swim program suddenly died." Lynch immediately called her cop brother, who arrived within 10 minutes. But instead of removing the girls like his sister clearly expected, he started taking formal statements about why they felt unsafe. One girl mentioned she'd seen Mr. Gary, the vice principal, entering Lynch's office after hours multiple times that week. The officer's entire expression shifted as he turned to his sister, asking, "Gary has keys to your office?" Mrs. Ray Lynch went pale as she admitted, "Well, yes, for emergencies, but..." And her brother cut her off, asking, "And the camera footage is accessed exclusively through your computer?" The room went completely silent as the implication hit everyone at once. Lynch's face drained of all color as her brother requested the footage logs immediately. The metadata showed system access at 11 different times when Lynch was documented as being off campus, including 3 instances after midnight. She tried explaining it as system glitches or automatic updates, but her brother wasn't buying any of it and started making calls over his radio. Gary was pulled in for questioning within the hour. I was sitting with my daughter in the parking lot trying to convince her to eat something when we saw Gary being escorted out in handcuffs, his face covered with his jacket. I breathed a sigh of relief thinking it was over, but my daughter wasn't celebrating. Instead, she was scrolling through the school's website on her phone. "Mom," she said suddenly, "the swim team page shows last year's team photo. Look at the locker room behind them." I looked and saw the same walls, same benches, same everything, except something was different. There were small black domes in the corners of the ceiling that looked exactly like the cameras Lynch showed us. Lynch had said the cameras were installed after the flooding in March, but the timestamp on the team photo was from January. My daughter looked at me, her voice barely a whisper. "Mom, if the cameras were already there before the flooding, then why did Lynch lie about when they were installed?" I stared at my daughter with my eyes bugged open. Together, we got out of the car and started marching towards the school. Full story on channel linked below.